Fade in. Hello, I am Michelle.
And I'm Natalie the Red.
And we are Force of I Entertainment. Well, today we are going to give you our spoiler review / discussion of the new Zack Snyder Netflix movie, Army of the Dead. So we'll get into that. And the way we do our reviews, typically discussions, but we may just more discuss through this, but we typically do, and we will follow this, I guess, give you our initial thoughts. Then we tell you what we like, dislike, and then give the movie a rating. So we're going to do that. So actually, let me give you a general thing for those. Of course, this movie is a zombie movie set in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is quarantined because it's infested with zombies. But the kind of the kicker to this movie,
your typical zombie infection.
Yeah, your typical zombie movie, but with a twist because it's also a heist movie. The government is going to nuke Las Vegas because there's no hope for it. So it's understandable in this situation, but there's a lot of money in Las Vegas. So they are sent, this lead crew with Batista leading it, are sent to go retrieve the money in this casino. So that's the general plot of this movie. But actually, let's give our initial thoughts. And then I'll tell everyone who's not watched it to go away until you watch it. If you want to watch it, or if you don't care being spoiled, you can stay. Okay. And let me preface it with this. Zack Snyder seems to be a polarizing figure.
Yeah.
You can go look at our page if you're new. I've liked a lot of Zack Snyder's movies. In fact, I'm # restore the Snyderverse. Like, I enjoy his DC stuff, like, quite a bit. Love Man of Steel. Really enjoy Batman v Superman, even though that's not really popular. And really enjoyed the Snyder cut of Justice League. So I just want to throw that out there to say I do like Zack Snyder. But my initial thoughts is I really hated this movie. Natalie, how many times last night did I look at you and say I hated that movie?
A lot.
I think at one point I said it 3 times. I hated that movie. I hated that movie.
She just broke down into saying the same phrase over and over again. It was so passionate. Bad.
That's what I said. I said it was bad. It was bad. It was bad.
Horrible.
But and for the record, like, I'm not the biggest zombie person. They can be fun if done right. I understand the appeal of them. But so take that, I guess, with a grain of salt for whatever.
And my disclaimer I want to give is I actually am a The Walking Dead fan. So I'm not like against zombie stuff, like when done in the right way.
Well, and The Walking Dead, it gives a lot to the female audience because it really is a drama set in this zombie
mixed with like horror elements. Certainly.
Yes. Where this is just straight up killing zombies, that type movie. And if that's what you're looking for, then maybe you'll enjoy it.
Like a mother that just found her daughter in the city just dying together within the first 15 minutes.
You're kind of getting into spoilers, but okay. We'll now move. So if you've not watched it and you don't want to be spoiled, you can come back at a later date. And again, if you love this movie, probably just don't listen to our review because
we're probably going to make you mad.
Because you're not going to like it. But if you are like us and you don't understand why people are liking this movie, then
this is the video for you.
This is the video for you. Okay. So what I like about this movie, this is going to be a very short segment. What I like about it. Okay. I thought he did good in the role. That he was good in it. But that will lead into something I didn't like. We'll get to that later. There was one scene. It was when the first person in their crew dies. And that guy that was sitting there with them sets her up.
Yeah.
That woman, that was a great scene.
Yeah, it was. Like, I was sitting there rooting for her. Like, I was very engaged in it.
And that was the best. That's actually what I'm looking for with a zombie movie. Those type of scenes.
Those video game moments.
Yes.
Where you're just like, they're just taking them out and it's weirdly
and it's
satisfying.
Awesome. It's awesome. You're like, you're like rooting for them because she's just like so in such an awesome fashion, taking them out one by one.
Epic, you know?
Like it was kind of like, is it Michonne? I always say her name wrong.
Like Michonne.
Michonne on The Walking Dead.
Yeah, like she's like that. Like it's like watching a video game and it's super satisfying.
Yes, that scene was like that for me. And then, of course, that guy stabs her in the back. And then when you think, oh, well, that sucks, she gets out of it.
Yeah.
But then this movie does some of the things I hate because everyone dies. So then she dies, and you're like, well, that sucked.
Yeah, what was that for?
That sucked. Like,
I mean, I appreciated the scene, but
yeah, so that's a positive and a negative, as this movie's about to be a lot of. And then Batista at the end, he had like a scene that was similar to that, where you're like, yeah, you're kind of having fun. Him take out the zombies, which was fine. But that's all I have to say nice. Natalie, anything you have to say nice about this movie?
like's been stated, I mean, I like the song "Zombie" by the Cranberries.
That's right. We looked at each other. We're
That
like,
played at the end.
we were like, we like the song.
I mean, pretty decent soundtrack overall. I would
Yeah.
say pretty solid.
Yeah, it was. And again,
And I liked that scene.
I think the trailer actually did appeal to me for a zombie movie because it being set in Las Vegas, it was kind of cool. It was kind
Yeah.
of different and unique looking. So that was kind of cool. But then let's move into the negatives, because this movie is the tone is all over the place.
Over the place. You're
The-
like, I don't know how I'm supposed to view this movie when I'm watching it.
The opening, okay, well, not the very opening scene where that thing gets loose, but the whole opening montage of Las Vegas getting infected with this zombie virus. It was like, am I supposed to be laughing? Am I supposed to be, because it's just a lot of shock value and gore, but then beyond that,
With like lighthearted music playing.
with lighthearted music, but then there's this really heart-wrenching moment with a mother and her daughter.
That was kind of hard for me to recover from.
That's where I kind of knew I wasn't probably going to like this movie.
No.
That really, like, that scene, because that was so unnecessary for the tone that you had just established in this part.
Right. It was like, what?
Yeah, it was just, and so much of this movie is just done for sheer shock value. And yes, I get in a horror movie, there will be shock value. That's what makes it good.
I even like a certain amount of shock.
Yes.
Actually, I like shock value.
Yes.
In certain things when it works.
But choose it wisely. Don't just do shock value for the sake of doing shock
like
value.
every other 5 minutes.
There's something that's shocking. And then literally at the beginning, when you're having this awful heart-wrenching moment that doesn't fit the tone of the music or anything like that, then like they literally just drop a crate on them. And you're like, what am I watching? And it doesn't get any better, because then,
which,
of course,
I mean, sadly in a movie like this, you're like, well, at least they're not suffering.
Yeah, I guess.
But I mean, it's just like, when that's your prize.
And then it moves on, because then Batista has to kill his wife because she's been infected. And you're just like, well, that's awful.
Really depressing.
Really depressing. And then they move into how he gets the whole heist situation. And so you're kind of promised this heist situation. And for starters, his daughter, it was just a terrible character in the movie.
She's a bad character.
Like, basically, she causes everyone to die. Like, basically. That's the point of this character, I guess. Like, she was awful.
I think just a lot of the plots kind of going on, they don't really make sense to me.
Well, and
at the end of the day.
And for starters, let's be real, okay? This movie should have been 2 hours or less.
Yeah.
Like, there was way too much in this for it to be 2 hours and 26 minutes. And it's 2 hours and 26 minutes that I can never get back in my life. And I'm really upset about that. But we'll move on. So, okay, let's start too with the daughter. So this woman wants to get money for her kids. So she's like, you know what? I'm just going to risk my life because there's some cash in Las Vegas, even though I'm probably going to die. So will you take care of my kids, even though I'm doing this for my kids? And you're just, no.
But ultimately,
what mother does that?
I'm probably not going to survive to help my kids.
So then
what was the point of this?
So then it gets better, because she tells Batista's daughter, then you'll take care of my kids if I don't come back. So then Batista's daughter promptly doesn't listen.
Sign me up, I'm going.
She doesn't listen to that and is like, nah, the kids will be fine. And she goes in. I had to pull out my critical drinker on that. I think I've just watched him too much. But that's basically what it's like. So she goes in, at which point you're like, oh, this isn't gonna be good. This is like in 24 when Kim was in it. And you're like, no. Like, no.
That is a good example.
Oh, it's bad. And so they get in there, and of course, like the cat was cool, the cat zombie, the big Bengal cat zombie.
If you watch this channel, you know I love cats.
I mean, that was cool, but that was about all I could say. And actually, I did think the premise was interesting, a different take, that they're smarter zombies or quicker, more strong zombies too. But overall, I just
that's another thing I want to get to, actually, as somebody that, you know, have watched almost all the seasons of The Walking Dead. I think I need to catch up on the last one. But it's like, I mean, I'll admit, I kind of got used to The Walking Dead's,
yeah,
you know, there's like zombie rules. Like this is how it works. And so I understand you can't do that. But there was like so many different kinds of zombies that the rules constantly, like you just kind of like to have some rules that are like, you know,
well, and then there was a zombie baby, and you're like, so did that happen before they became zombies? And then I was like, you know what? I don't want to think about that anymore.
Too much thought.
We'll just move on. So there's just so much going on in this movie. And again, the tone, they will do something where someone dies, and then 2 seconds later, they're like trying to make you laugh.
Yeah. And it just doesn't work. Like I keep referring to The Walking Dead, but like it is a drama, you know, so you're not really expecting for it to make you laugh. Like they've set the tone. And like, just like in life, kind of realistically, are there characters and moments that make you laugh? But it works in that, you know, in more realistic way. This is like, let's totally change the tone from minute to minute. And it's just
beyond it. It can be its own thing, but you're either going to pick a straight horror theme, a drama, kind of like The Walking Dead. You've got dark comedy with Zombieland.
Yeah.
But this movie was like, we're going to do all of the above.
Like just mix it all together, like throw it in a pot.
And to me, that just doesn't work. And that's why a lot of the comedy just doesn't land. Now, the cracker did make me laugh a couple times. He was the only one who could make me kind of smile.
Which one?
The guy who cracks the safe.
Oh, the German guy.
The German guy.
Yeah, he was probably my favorite character.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. So then let's, move into the fact that, so we're promised a heist movie. So then they realize that this guy that sent him with them, the guy that sent him in, he doesn't even want the money. He's just basically sent them in there to die because he sent someone with him to get what he actually wants, which is this lead zombie woman's head.
So then we've got the alien plot.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah.
And unlike Alien, no hero in Jones Cat gets to live. In fact, had this been Alien, Jones Cat would have died, and Ripley too, if we're talking about Alien. But so basically, what I'm getting at is everything's for nothing.
Yeah.
By the end of this movie,
like, what is the point of this movie?
By the end of this movie, they get no money, and everybody dies.
The woman that the daughter went in to say, she dies.
She dies. Everyone dies.
Everybody dies.
In fact, that whole plot wasn't needed. If you wanted the daughter and you wanted Batista to have to save his daughter, somehow get his daughter put in there, and that makes him go in there.
Right.
I just created a better movie. That's a better plot that I just gave you in 2 seconds of thinking. Because the whole subplot with his daughter and that woman, and then it just comes to nothing. Because she dies anyways. And I would just want to point out, I don't usually point out ridiculous things, but I'm going to for this movie. Because obviously, if you can't tell, I was annoyed the entire way through.
And I really, and Michelle knows, I really kind of tried to get into it. About the first 35 minutes or so.
I even forgave the opening scene, that whole montage that I didn't personally like. I was like, okay, maybe it'll get better.
And can I just point out that I'm sure there are people that really appreciate
that loved it.
The topless, dancers that are now zombies that are going to kill some sleazy guy, kind of looks like. But it's like, once again, it's like, was that really necessary?
No, it wasn't.
Do you really want to see gray dead boobs in your face?
Yeah, it just wasn't. I would love to see the breakdown of how many women enjoy this movie.
I would like to know. Because
it's not going to be high. That's what I can tell you. And there's a lot of men who don't like this movie either. But I just feel, especially among the female sex gender, that it's not going to be
about as high as the survival count in this movie.
Yeah, which is like one, the daughter. That's what the freaking daughter. That's who lives.
The worst character.
Okay, let me point out something as we're kind of wrapping up. Something that it was just like, that's nonsensical. it doesn't make any sense. And yes, in movies like this, there do need to be some rules. There's rules established here. Okay. So they have their get to the chopper moment. And I found Predator. Predator's a man's movie, but it's way better. Like you can actually enjoy it. It's actually a good movie.
Right.
This not so much. But anyways, so they get to the chopper. So you have Batista and the pilot, because that woman sacrifices herself for them, basically.
Yeah.
And they're off in a helicopter. And the kind of king, if you want to call him the king, I don't know what you call him, the lead zombie man.
And of course, they're in this horrific time crunch.
Yes, because they've moved up the time to nuke everything
to escape certain death.
Yes, and let's back up, because they have, again, talking about the tone. This woman bears her heart and soul to Batista. When they're on the clock from getting nuked, probably not the time.
First of all, doesn't make any sense realistically.
No, like you're being serious and you're getting out of the situation as fast as possible. Then, of course, shock value, she's dead, and you're just like, really,
in like a grotesque way.
Yeah, it was awful. Okay, but now back to the chopper thing. So they're in the chopper. They take off. This man, the zombie man, is on the very top of the roof of this building. They're flying in the chopper. But somehow he gets down from the building through the elevator on his horse and back to the building they're flying to on the chopper before they get there on the chopper. It would have taken him a few seconds to get there in the helicopter. But we'll just move on, because that's the
name of the game for this whole movie, pretty much.
We'll move on. But that didn't make any sense to me. But so, of course, he's able to, that dumb thing gets in the helicopter at the end. And two, the one guy that, the one gentleman that survives, that the German guy puts into the vault and seals it.
Yes.
For starters, he would have died eventually anyways because of nuclear radiation exposure.
I mean, they said that, but I heard someone say he actually could live through that.
But not when he got out with no mask.
Oh.
Like you'd have to have someone
I don't know.
You'd have to have someone with like radioactive type gear, I guess, go in there. Like you can't be in a nuclear place. Like, no, that's just not, you're not allowed. No, you die.
I'm not educated on this. I don't know.
You would die. But anyways, so of course Batista, she has to shoot him in the head because he got bit, which you're just like, really? Like and that's where my point is, all of this is for nothing. They got no money and everyone dies. Everyone dies. And we find out, of course, the one guy that we think survives with the money, that at the very end, twist, he got bit. So the movie leaves you with like, he's going to fly, I think, to maybe Mexico City or somewhere. And then you're going to have a whole nother Las Vegas outbreak. And it's just like, that was the end of the movie.
This movie is no reprieve.
There's no reprieve. There's nothing. And to me, sometimes you want your hero. Okay, for starters, I already know that Zack Snyder wants to continue this, hence the way it ends.
So I think they're going to do like a prequel.
Oh, yeah, the prequel's coming. The prequel's coming out this year.
Which is probably my favorite, like I said.
But they want to do a sequel. So why did you kill Batista? Would it not make for a much better sequel to have him be the experienced one that is sent in there to deal with the situation, whatever city, I think maybe Mexico City, gets infested, and it makes an emotional ending for him to have to take out his friend that is now a zombie?
Yeah.
That makes for a way better movie than now you're just going to have to create all new characters.
Right.
Unless his daughter's the hero, which no one's going to watch that. So it's just because she was a terrible character. She caused everyone to die.
You ruined everything.
She literally ruined everything. It's just, I don't know. I'll stop. I'm just going to keep going. It's very rare I hate a movie this badly, but I hated this movie. It did not have many, if any, redemptive qualities. No. In our opinions. And once again, if you love it, hopefully you're not even watching this. Just go on loving it. Yeah. I mean, and some people, they love zombie movies, whatever. They're going to enjoy it. Whatever. Fine. But again, not that everything has to be The Walking Dead. It doesn't. Zombies, genre and rules can all be different. But Rick Grimes, all of them, they're gonna live. Yes, there's shock value of some deaths, but they're gonna have some heroes that keep living too.
Like they're gonna surprise you, and a lot of people are gonna die, and a lot of people do die. But you have your Daryl and your Rick Grimes.
Your Carol.
I know I mean, Rick Grimes didn't die, but
no, we all know that. He did die.
Carol, like you've got like that little bunch that you're like, okay, but they're going to make it.
Yeah. Like not everybody dies. Right. But in this, everyone died. So yeah, that's kind of our review on this. Will I be watching the prequel? No, because I doubt I would enjoy it. And this might have done me in from ever watching another zombie movie in my life. Like that's what this did for me.
Snyder, you ruined it for.
I would still like the Snyderverse to be restored in DC, but I don't want this movie. I did not like this movie. And let us know below if you're watching. You've probably downvoted if you enjoyed this movie, but because the Snyder fans, they will come at you the way zombie fans. The zombies did, and we usually are Snyder fans.
We just feel it's our job to be honest, and not everybody's gonna like every movie, and sometimes, in fact, you're gonna passionately dislike a movie, like in this case. And we're just being honest.
Yeah, I passionately, if it's not obvious, didn't enjoy this movie.
I think they've got it.
So let's rate this movie. Okay, this is gonna be a first time ever. It gets 0 hoots. 0 out of 5 hoots.
You are awarded no points, and I'm now dumber for.
May God have mercy on your soul. Basically, I almost am tempted to give it negative hoots because it is
out of bounds.
Because it has robbed me of 2 hours and 26 minutes of my life that I can never get back. In fact, if I had a time machine, I would go back to myself before I watch this movie. And tell
Michelle, don't watch this movie.
And say, don't watch this movie. Go do something fun for 2 hours and 26 minutes. And that's what I would do with the time machine. So that's I give it 0 hoots. Stanley?
Yeah. I mean, I'll be kind and give it a half a hoot.
Had there been more
I really like the song Zombie.
Had there been more moments like Batista got a couple at the end, and then that woman, that scene, that's what's fun in zombie movies. But everyone dying and just some of the ridiculous things that you couldn't buy into, I did not enjoy it.
I think this movie
it is rewarded no points.
it was probably geared to please like a certain demographic, yeah, I'll leave it at that.
It was. It's a certain type of, like, if you really enjoy this type of thing.
Yeah, like maybe you loved it.
Yeah. I mean, it is. And again, there's going to be women who like it, but I doubt there's tons of them.
And when I said demographic, I really meant like certain type of males.
Yeah, because I already know there's a lot of men who don't like it.
That really like this kind of thing. But I would say it's not, like Michelle said earlier, it's probably not super high.
It's not a high percentage here. But anyways, that's our spoiler discussion thoughts on the new Zack Snyder Netflix movie, Army of the Dead. I still, again, I hope that we get Henry Cavill and that Snyderverse kind of restored in some version.
Michelle's going to need to go look at pictures of Henry Cavill to get her mind off of this monstrosity.
I really am. That may, or Baby Yoda, something that makes me happy, something pleasant. But anyways, guys, that's it. Share your thoughts below. But as always, everyone, remember to be a force of light. All right, bye.